do everything that I can for free before paying for influencers, advertising, etc. I understand that my product is not incredibly intuitive. Reading some of the reviews, I'm like, you didn't even try this. And then the people that buy it and leave a review, like the ones that say like verified buyer, I read the reviews, and even if they're bad reviews, I understand why they didn't like it, and that's okay, right? I understand not everyone's gonna like my product, but there are just some reviews on there that I'm like, did you even try this?
All right. Well, great to have you here, Eric. Thank you for accepting to do the podcast. I'm really excited to do this with you and hear your story. It's always exciting to talk to another seller, fellow entrepreneur. And why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? What was your job prior to owning your own business, and what made you want to jump into being an entrepreneur?
Sure. I'm Eric. I grew up on East Coast in Jersey. I now live in San Francisco. I am always kind of thinking of small things in my life that maybe can also help others. And like I don't need to be the next like big name stock IPO, etc. I'm always looking for something small. I've had a few friends in my life who have shared me their story of like what their family does, and it's always something that like, oh my god, I've never even thought of someone doing that. Like the stickers on fruit, like that's such a cool thing that someone does that always flies under the radar. And I have stomach issues, as do a ton of people. And when I would go to like dinner parties, I would have to rely on them having a fan or a air spray, and like those don't always work. So like there's only so much I can control. So I looked up and did a bunch of research over a few months of how can I control the smell if I go to the bathroom in someone else's house. I want that bathroom anxiety to go away whatsoever. And that's where Dough came in. Made these tablets
Mm.
in my kitchen over a few months, iterating recipe, testing it on friends and family. So thank you to my friends and family for going to the bathroom and allowing me to run into the bathroom right after. Be like, it still smells a little bit. Need to change. So the testing process has been interesting. It is interesting, and eventually came up with the current recipe, and now mass produce it overseas. Get it all shipped here. Launched on O&O, TikTok Shop, and now Amazon as well. I have a background in marketing. I went to Tulane University in New Orleans, Louisiana, Roll Wave for marketing and management.
Oh, I love it. We're going to learn a lot from you today.
We'll see.
Well, it's funny. I have a funny story. I actually went on a road trip with some friends, and one of my buddies, he had some, I don't know if it was your product, it could have been, but he popped something similar. He just put it next to the bathroom because we all, like, we were a big group. We went on a road trip. And he's like, if anyone, and there was one restroom in the house that we rented. So he's like, if
There we
anyone
go.
needs to use the restroom, you better throw this in in the toilet before
I
you
hope it
use the
was.
restroom. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
Love to
it
hear.
was so funny, but it kind of worked,
Right.
it was kind of cool. It was so funny
I
though.
was at a bachelor party in March or April, and I just brought a ton of them. I was like, everyone, we're going to be drinking a lot of beer. Please use the toilet. And like the 15 of us were very happy that we were all able to use the restroom without else.
I love it. So when you launched the product, was there something similar or competitive at the time?
There are similar products out there. However, none of them did everything that I wanted. So big ones that most people know are the various sprays, right? Some cover up just like the bathroom smell, like air in general. Some you spray directly into the toilet. But I didn't want to, and I still don't want to put a bottle in my pocket. So I'm not carrying around a bag. I only have like pretty small pockets, right? Pockets aren't that big, so I want something that could fit in my pocket. So that's sprays out of the question. There are some dissolvable tablets kind of similar to Dill. However, One, still not as portable, single use, and packaging is meant to be way more discreet. And of course, mine works the best. My formula works the best.
I love that. Did you use a research, because you're a marketing expert, did you use any market research tool to help you identify the demand for this product?
Demand, not so much as I use PickFu a lot. Are you familiar with that tool?
PickFu?
Yeah.
No, tell me a little bit about it.
It's pretty much a survey tool that you can then take, like, hey, this is my product idea. This is something that exists. Give me your thoughts. And you pay like 50, $100 or whatever, and you get a bunch of responses, and you could choose like who you want these people to be, and you get some information from that. Less so from market demand, like before making it, which I do think I should have in the beginning, because when I would talk with people about this, everyone's like, "Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. That's a great idea." I'm like, great. Let's see if I can make it. I made it, and then just started expanding on it. But I think looking back, if I did market research beforehand, then I wouldn't be kind of where I am now of having the product and then figuring out where to go.
Yeah, no, I like that. What is the website called again for, for someone who's interested in trying it out? It's called
Pickfu,
Pigfo. Oh,
pick
like
like
Pigfo.
Pickfu.
Got it.
Not sponsored by them unless they want to sponsor it.
Optimize without an audience, whether a visitor. Okay, it's like an e-commerce poll. It
Yeah.
gives you an idea of what people are searching for.
Yep. So I'll do
Okay.
item testing through this, title testing through this, and I think I could have done more prior research on this versus just going full steam ahead, buying a bunch of inventory and then doing it after. So, like looking back on it, product research
So
first, demand first, then
so
inventory.
doing Pigfo, did it give you enough um confidence to like, I want to launch this idea?
I would say yes, and also my just general talking about the idea. So bringing it up a lot before I actually launched it and seeing like, do these work? Yes. Okay. What do people think of it? And a lot of people be like, oh, huh, that's really interesting. That's a good idea. Like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. Why not?
Hmm. Nice. So tell me a little bit about the brand name too, and how did you come up with it?
I took a legal studies class in college, and we talked about trademarks because still is trademark pending because it takes like a year to get a trademark. So trademark is pending, but one of the big things for trademarks is the confusability test, and you can't confuse your brand with something else or you're going to get sued. So the example that they always use is Haagen-Dazs, and Haagen-Dazs means absolutely nothing. And I always love that example. So dill doesn't really mean anything. So it was theoretically like, right, it's not approved yet, but it should be super easy to trademark. No one else has the name dill. And two, the name dill itself being pronounced dill, but spelled Dilih. I call it my baloney theory, that there's no reason for baloney of how it's spelled to be said baloney. But then when someone corrects you the first time, you're like, oh, every time I see that, I know it's called baloney and not bologna.
I love that. That's pretty cool. That's a good story. Um, and yeah, let's dive into making the product and like finding manufacturers. That's something that a lot of new sellers struggle with, and
Sure.
they, I always get asked those questions. How do I find manufacturer and how do I choose mine? And so walk us through your journey and how did you find your manufacturer, and maybe how many manufacturers did you have to talk to before you found the one that you chose?
The first step was figuring out how to make the product. And I don't want to go too deep into it because I'm not going to patent the products. I have to keep that a trade secret, but it is figuring out what materials I need, exactly how to make it, every single aspect of the recipe, because I know that when I hand this to somebody else, I need it to be exactly how I make it. I can't leave any room for interpretation. Sourced, Alibaba. Alibaba is great. Reach out to a ton of manufacturers. I found 20, this was like a year ago, but like probably 20 or 30 that made similar products, like not even my product, just like I pretty much took the ingredients that like I know are in it and then tried to find products that have similar ingredients and are similar shapes to see if like the manufacturer would have the mold, and then reaching out to a ton of manufacturers. So that's from the like making the product piece. But then the other piece was I spent hours and hours and hours and hours financial modeling. How much can I spend on each product down to each tablet, including all of my projected spend. So like we went through the financial sheet, or we have the financial sheet of like, so that's, I know there's going to be startup costs like making an LLC, trademarking, the lawyers involved in the trademarking, all the different softwares that I have to use, like taxes, etc., and projecting how much I think it will cost end of day to make a tablet. How much do I want to sell it for? $20. And then what is now my margin for what I'd be willing to entertain from a manufacturer? So tons of manufacturers come back and say, it's going to charge like $1.50 per tablet. I know that I cannot afford that. That is just way too much. I'm not selling these for a box 24 for $20 by buying it just from the manufacturer for $1.50, not including shipping, not including anything else. So finding similar manufacturers or manufacturers that are doing similar products, one, two, knowing how much you'd be willing to pay for it.
I love it. That's a very well said answer, because a lot of new sellers get this wrong, and they want to pay $5 for a product they're going to sell at $20, and you're leaving no margin for profit, because
Yeah,
after shipping and all the fees that you have to pay and logistics, or if you're selling on Amazon, all the Amazon fees and advertising, and you're going to end up with zero profits, if not negative.
negative. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's a really, really good, well said answer. In your research in manufacturing, you knew your margins, you knew your numbers. So tell us about sampling. How many units did you order? And, how much did it cost you exactly?
sure. I got, so after like reaching out to tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of manufacturers, a manufacturer that I ended up working with, super grateful for, because we went through a few different iterations of samples because there was some, and still is some, variability between like the exact recipe that I want that I can make in my kitchen versus what they can make on industrial equipment. So a little bit of variation. I definitely want samples, as people should, and came up with a deal that I definitely recommend to others. I think it's super fair for both of us that I still had to pay for my samples. I had to pay way more than like per sample. I had to pay way more than like my actual order, but that amount was reimbursed when I made my final order. So, for example, I think my first order, I paid $100 with shipping for 4 tablets. So it's like $25 per sample, which clearly I am not paying $25 per tablet in my actual product. But
Right.
I'm okay with this, right? This was our first time doing samples. This was our first interaction with each other. They didn't trust me, understandably, right? That's okay. So got those samples. I think we went through one other iteration of it, and then the actual big order, they just reimbursed me pretty much for the sample cost and paid 10 grand. It, yeah, 10 grand for 60,000 tablets.
10 grand for 60,000.
Yeah, which should be like 17-ish, 20 cents per tablet.
Got it. And you're
And
selling them in packs, right? So each unit has, and according to your listing, you got pack of 24. So you're packing them in 24 tablets in one package. So you made 60,000 divided by 24. Now you got, that's 2,500 packages. Is that
yep,
correct?
yep, yep.
Nice. And did you run into any issues initially? Did you run into like any manufacturing issues, or how did you, like, that was a big order, obviously, like you're putting out
Yeah,
$10,000,
yeah.
and you wanted to make sure, like, okay, that's a lot of units. Did you
It's a
do
lot of units.
something to mitigate the risk, and did you run into any big issues during that time?
Yes. So one opened up a business credit card, 0% APR for the first year. So he kind of gets to delay the initial like influx of cash until you can start selling. So it's pretty much open the business card as soon as like as close to that big purchase as possible. So then it takes like 2-ish months for that product to get to you. So now I can't even start making any profit until the product comes. So that's scary. And I think looking back on it, I would get the order last because I got the order while the order was getting made, I was doing just some other just like business setup stuff, like creating the LLC, getting like all my tax stuff ready, like QuickBooks, building my website. And the other big one that took a little while was insurance. I don't want someone to eat. It clearly says do not eat, but still, who knows what's going to happen. So you have to have liability insurance just to protect yourself. And that meant that from when I opened the card to when I could actually start selling was a few months. That's a few months that I don't have any revenue coming in, but I still have to pay that $10,000 off. And I wanted to pay that $10,000 off within the year, so then I don't have to pay any credit card interest. So that's kind of how I've been mitigating the risk, is like planning out how much monthly revenue I could bring in to pay off the credit card, because no bank is giving a first year business loan, unfortunately. And if you know of one, please let me know.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, credit card is your best bet in the
Yeah,
beginning.
unfortunately.
Yeah, so
Or
you said
family
you
and friends.
created it. So you said you started an LLC.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Oh, okay. And you said something about insurance. I didn't catch that uh, properly. You said something about a liability insurance that you did, or is just you're just saying like you wanted to protect yourself by
I
getting a
wanted to protect
business
myself.
credit.
Correct. So from financial perspective, LLC is needed, right? You got to protect your personal self. But then also I got liability insurance because the product does look like a mint to an extent. It clearly says do not eat on it, but I am concerned of someone eating it and then suing the LLC. So I want to have protection insurance as well. So I couldn't start selling until my insurance was cleared.
I see. I see. Okay, that makes sense. Tell me a little bit about that. How much did it cost you to get insurance, and how hard is it to get a liability insurance?
It's not super difficult as of now because it's such a small business. I'm interested to see as it grows, but as it grows and no one's coming after me, it makes my business be less risky anyway. But there were a lot of insurers that would not insure me, especially being kind of a unique product. It was $2,000 for the first year. I'm still in that first year.
Got it. And you are, yeah. That's very well and thoughtful thinking on your end. Try to protect you. Always. You also want to separate your business assets from your personal assets.
Yeah.
Let's get into the design a little bit, because I do like how your product is designed. the logo, the packaging. It does
Thank
all
you.
look really well thought and all of that. How did you find your designer for your packaging and logo?
A few things. One, first, most importantly, one of my friends is a designer. She is in design school right now, and I hired her. She did a great job, and very, very grateful for her. The box itself is inspired by Dollar Shave Club. They have similar mailer type boxes, and I was like, that is perfect. That's a perfect carrier for these tablets, and the tablet size. Like I just measured the box that I needed to fit 24 tablets.
Nice. So it was pretty. You had your friend that you hired, and how much did you pay her?
I'm gonna keep that between us. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries. Yeah. I mean, that's completely fine. And I wanted to let me see what's the next question that I have here. Do you have any How did you get your product photos for your Amazon listing?
Two places. One, I have another friend who's a professional photographer, and she did a bunch of photos for me, and she does a fantastic. And two, 3D renders. The main image now is a 3D render, and I found that through Fiverr and going through like other product listings. Like, there's no way that these are real photos. And then I got a 3D render of one, and it looks way more similar to all of the other product listings.
I love that you said that because we do like photo rendering a lot more than actual real photos. They look way better than actually
Yeah,
trying to do it. Um, and yeah, you do have a great listing too. Looking at it right now, like she did a really good job with the photos. Are those the original photos, or did you change them?
let me pull it up. The first one's a 3D render, then Canva for a lot of um, the infographics, and the last two photos are her photos.
Nice. And where'd you get your UPC codes from?
gs1.org, is that the whatever the
gs1.org.
GS1?
Yep, that's the
Yeah,
one. That's the one we use and recommend to our students.
yeah,
And I'm guessing you spent $30 for one
exactly.
barcode. Yeah, and as you mentioned here, you started an LLC. It cost you
Yep,
$80. Do you mind me asking where did you do that yourself via state?
yeah, exactly. I live in California. Super easy to fill out a form and create a policy
Nice.
here. Which I'm sure it's similar in other states too, but
Yeah, and lastly, I see that you put here that you put $3,000 for a trademark. Do you want to share a little bit about that? How much did it cost you, and how did you get it done?
sure. I hired a lawyer. You can do it yourself,
Okay.
and like I know you can do it yourself. This was one of those things that I did not want to do myself because there are a lot of intricacies to trademarks that I, not a lawyer, don't know. So then when you send in the money for an application to the government by yourself and it gets rejected, then you just wasted your money. I would rather spend a little bit more upfront now. I'm only doing it once. So get it all up front now. Yeah, 3 grand wasn't fun, but I start making a few $1 million, that 3 grand is gonna be easy to spend.
Got it. Yeah. No, totally. I mean, um, yeah, we do teach how to do your trademark yourself. I mean, but you know, but doing it with a lawyer also is not so bad. I mean, you could have saved almost $3,000
Yeah.
because it's only $250 if you did it yourself. I mean, if you did an LLC, you could have done trademark yourself. Honestly, a trademark is way easier than issuing an LLC. I'll tell you
Okay.
that. But
Damn, maybe
You
the
live
next
and
one.
you learn.
Yeah, exactly right. So hopefully someone's listening to this now and does not hire a lawyer for a trademark.
No, but that's cool. So I'm excited to get into the shipping, the launching part of the product, but I do want to ask two last questions. Tell me about shipping. Now you've launched the product, you've ordered the product. It came time to, like, you need to ship it. What shipping
Mhm.
method did you use? Did you ship it by sea or by air? And how much did it cost you?
Ship it by sea, not in a rush, right? If it has to come quicker, I'll go by air, but sea is completely fine. I was lucky, and this is my fault, but I was lucky on this because I have a very good supplier that they did the correct shipping terms, because there are a few different types of shipping terms where there is a variation of like EDP or something like that, but which I'm not a pro in, and I'm happy that they're dealing with this, that they own the product until it gets to me. And by that, they deal with customs because I'm ordering this from overseas, where there's the opposite, where like I pretty much have to deal with customs and I have to hire like a consultant pretty much to deal with all the custom stuff. I did not want to deal with that. So I'm really happy that I didn't have to deal with that. But yep,
Yeah.
overseas, it took a few months. I paid $1,500 for a pallet. Not cheap. 60,000
Yeah.
tablets. So like you kind of break that down per tablet. It's not awful, but
No.
yeah, shipping is not fun, and that's just shipping to me. That doesn't.
Yeah.
We're gonna probably get into shipping to an Amazon warehouse or directly to the customer. Shipping is definitely my most expensive.
Did you ship it to you or did you ship it straight to Amazon?
I shipped it to me.
To you? Okay, nice. And
Correct.
you wanted to make sure that everything is good before you ship it, or did you want to control how much you ship to Amazon?
I wasn't originally going to launch on Amazon. I was originally
Oh,
going to only do. Oh no, I have a Shopify website. Only going to do that. So that's one. Two, the I didn't have the box manufactured by the same people that manufactured the tablet itself. So I have stacks of the boxes, and then I'm actually physically building the box, putting 24 tablets in the box, putting the little sign on top of it, closing it up. So I still have to make all the
got
boxes
it.
before I send that to Amazon.
Oh man, that's a true entrepreneur right there, putting it all.
Worth it.
True startup. Yeah, yeah. Man, that's amazing. I gotta give you a lot of credit on that. I mean, I've been through there too. Like, we all have to do it. So you gotta give yourself a lot of credit for doing that. Um,
Thank you.
and so you launched on your own website initially, and then you launched on Amazon. Is that correct?
Correct. Correct.
But so tell me a little bit about launching. Did you use any Facebook groups, social media, influencers, Kickstarter? Tell me a little bit about your launching strategy.
Could have been better. That like my biggest thing for launching, that if I could go back and redo, is do everything that I can for free before paying for influencers, advertising, etc. There are so many ways that you can get the word out and not pay other people to do it. Product samples, SEO, so not only Amazon SEO, but also like Google SEO, where I mistakenly was just like, oh yeah, I could pay a few social media influencers a bunch of money and they're gonna say my product, and everyone's just gonna be like, oh, this person said your product, I'm gonna buy it. That's not how it works. So I spent a lot of money that I'm not thrilled about on social media influencers and Amazon PPC once I launched on Amazon, that I wish I could get back, but I can't. Now it's just a story to tell. That going back, do everything I can for free. And then once I find what works, put money behind the free strategy that's already working and put money to just boost it up.
Nice. I mean, you want to share a little bit insight on that strategy, like on Google SEOs or social media where people can utilize or learn from?
Sure. One of my most exciting marketing strategies that I only started like 2 weeks ago or so that I have a lot of hope for is posting on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and having different messaging for each one and strategically having different types of messaging within each one. So I'm just going to focus on TikTok for now, but the same applies for Facebook and uh, Instagram, where I'll have nearly the same video on TikTok and either advertise it or, which I made that mistake again, was originally advertising it. Might as well post it first, and it's free to post it. Have like five different variations of nearly the same thing and seeing which one performs the best and knowing why it would perform best before you post any of it. If this performs the best, why? Is it because you are talking about, so like in my case, families, right? If I'm saying, oh yeah, this product is the best for families, then another one saying, oh, it's the best for dinner parties, or it's the best for your boyfriend, girlfriend, and the family one gets the most engagement, there's something there. You should probably lean into that a little bit. And if the dinner party one, for whatever reason, doesn't get engagement, then don't lean into that. And that's, I
Mm,
think, the same for each platform.
I love it. So you're targeting your audience and you're trying to figure out who's listening.
Exactly. And using creative as a way of targeting. So not even just like setting your targeting settings, but using the creative specifically for an audience.
Got it. Nice. Yeah, no, that's a great advice. I get a lot of marketing questions, especially around holidays. They're like, how do I market for Black Friday or for Christmas? Or I'm like, you got to think like the consumer does. What do people look for around this holiday or this season? What are they searching for? So, for example, with Black Friday, people are looking for massive sales. Like that's your biggest, marketing message or campaign is going to be like, how can they save a ton? Because that's what they're searching for. They're like, oh, I'm going to save a ton of money. So if they're looking
Yeah,
to buy your product, they're looking for deals, like Black Friday deals. If it's Christmas, they're looking for gifts, bundles, packages. You want to like put it around, you got to word it on how people are buying it.
right.
So that's really good tip in terms of like social media doing the same thing. So you're targeting like who's listening to this message. Is it families? Is it partners? Is it kids? Is it friends? Is it college buddies? Who is it? Who's our consumer here? And let's try to target them or talk to them and be
Right.
creative with how you put the content out there. And then like when you figure that out, do you make the content all specifically to that audience, or what is your strategy there? Or is that only for like one ad?
The strategy there is to then make a bunch of different content with that same theme and then a bunch of sub themes and then figure out which one of those sub themes work the best and then kind of iterating and testing and kind of keep on going down, rinse, repeat.
Got it. Got it. Nice. And when you say sub theme, you're talking about within the family theme. What is the sub
Exactly.
theme that's related to the family, right?
Yeah. So are we talking now family? Are we saying that you are, let's say, a husband, for example, who doesn't want their partner to smell your own bathroom? Or are you a partner who doesn't want to smell your partner's? Right? Those are two different types of creative, either saying, don't smell mine or I don't want to smell yours. Well, which one works the best? Okay, great. Now this one works the best. Let's go down one more. Let's say it's, I don't want to smell someone else's. Okay, well, is it partners? Because now we're still in this family tree. Is it partners or is it kids? My kids don't smell the bathroom super well. So it's like, hey kids, like everyone take one of these. We're in a hotel room. Use it, please.
I love it. I love it. Great. So I want to ask you, and thank you for all that, by the way. I love it. Marketing is a great lesson for everyone, I think, that everyone overlooks when they're launching a product. So that was kind of cool to talk about that for a sec. So I want to jump into the financial questions. So far, what were your major expenses from idea to invention, and were there any unforeseen expenses?
Sure. My major expenses were the product itself, right? It's a big order. 10 grand's a big order. And two, PPC. And really just like paid advertising in general, but PPC. And I specifically say PPC because at first I just way overbid on keywords. I was like, yes, my product is the best. Someone's going to search for a bathroom air freshener. I'm going to bid on it. I'm going to be top of page. People are going to love it. And some people did, but some people would still click on it. I would way overbid for it. So my return on ad spend is now like 10% or whatever. And that's not sustainable. And like, yes, I do want my product to be out there, but like I can only do it at a profitable way. And profitable is a long term, right? Like we're still in a short term. So like we've kind of tweaked it to now where like, no, I can't afford to be top of page for bathroom air freshener, right? Like there's Lysol. Lysol has, I don't even know if they're owned by like Procter and Gamble maybe, but Lysol has tons of money and they can afford to spend like $5 on a click when their product's only $6. I can't. So once I learned, no, you should be bidding like 50 to 70 cents, find the keywords that you can afford, start pressing those out. Now we turn from like a faucet just or like a fire hose just spewing out money and sales kind of coming in to okay, well, like let's rethink this. It might be slower sales, but every sale is now that much more profitable. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I feel like I had to learn the same lesson the hard way as well in the beginning, going hard on PPC, and I'm like, oh my God, this can add up really quickly.
So quick.
Would you say this is like one of your biggest mistakes that cost you money?
Yes, for sure. Is overspending on PPC, definitely. And like one step further than that, I should know this. Like, Julian, I'm sorry for not doing exactly what you taught me, but PPC is bottom of funnel. And
Yeah.
I am a product, but I'm also a brand. And if you don't know my brand, why would you buy my product, even if it's something that you might like? Because there's other moderately similar products out there. So, like, the funnel exists for a reason. I should be, which I'm doing now, teaching people about my brand awareness, having them consider buying my product consideration,
Hmm.
and then getting them to the PPC of okay, now we're going to convert them. They're already familiar with my brand build. They might have seen us on Facebook. They might have seen us across their like very smaller influencers because those are the ones that I can afford. And now when they
Yeah.
go to Amazon, they're like, oh, okay, I'll buy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Creating brand awareness is really important, and it's one of the tricky ones. But that was leading me to this next question, which I wanted to ask you, like, what were the three biggest mistakes that you made that cost you money that we can learn from? And I wanted to say PPC is definitely that has to be one, because I feel like a lot of people underestimate or don't understand PPC when they jump into it, and you have to like, number one is, don't think PPC is going to save your life. Like, it's not going to come in and make the sales for you. Like, that's not how it works. You got to do your
Yeah,
homework. You got to, find your target keywords. You got to know how to bid it. You're bidding against, some of the biggest brands out there that has, like you said, so much money to spend on advertising. Um, so learning how to leverage PPC is really important. What would you say are two other mistakes that cost you money?
I didn't have great success with the Amazon Vine program. I wanted to get reviews in as quickly as possible, so I thought that the Vine program was the right way to do it. The majority of my bad reviews are from the Vine program,
Oh
and
man.
which is unfortunate. I understand that my product is not incredibly intuitive. And reading some of the reviews, I'm like, you didn't even try this. And then the people that buy it and leave a review, like the ones that say like verified buyer, I read the reviews, and even if they're bad reviews, I understand why they didn't like it, and that's okay, right? I understand not everyone's gonna like my product, but there are just some reviews on there that I'm like, you did you even try this? And those are all the mine, and that was like
Really?
$200, and that $200 is a bunch, right? That's the money.
No,
And I put that
man,
onto
that's a
PPC.
bummer. Yeah.
So mine and not optimizing my listing before PPC. So I was optimizing my listing at during this time where I was just pumping high bids into PPC. So like not only was I just draining money on PPC, but people were getting on my listing, my images weren't optimized. It was not where it should have been. My bullet points didn't tell the story they were supposed to. I didn't have A1 content or A plus content. So even my site or my listing, they weren't converting, but I'm still paying for the click.
Mm,
So
I see. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Always vulnerable to share our mistakes, but we all learn from it. So I do appreciate you
yeah,
sharing that. I wanted to get into because I know we're running short on time, and I don't want to keep you any longer. I know you got a trip coming up that you need to get ready for. I want to get into the launching and the sales numbers on Amazon. Um,
okay.
so you've been on Amazon for 6 months, is that right?
Yep. Yep.
So you want to give me just a rough overview of how you did and how you're doing?
Sure. As I was mentioning, the very, very beginning was super unprofitable because even when I was getting sales, I was spending way too much on advertising. Now that I have significantly pulled back my bids, my sales like numbers have gone down, but I'm no longer losing a few $100 a day. Sorry, a few $100 a day. Now I am pretty much breaking even on the day, getting like 1 to 2 sales a day, which I'm happy with right now.
Yeah, no, that's great. Can you give us like your first month on Amazon, launching on Amazon? How did you do?
Or let's see, first month, first month with some advertising, I sold was that 10 boxes, 11. I sold 11 boxes.
For
Lost.
$20?
I played with some pricing, so it was I got $275. I spent $125 in just Amazon fees, $250 in advertising costs. So I lost like $200 that first month. And see, this is
Got
where
it.
like I was just way overbidding, spending $250 to make 275, not including fees. Just that's not how it works. My fault.
Yeah. You want to give me for month two, same breakdown?
Month two is probably worse. Yeah. Oh yeah. Month two was 22 boxes for $500 in revenue, but cost me about $1,000 in advertising. So I spent $500. I spent $1,000 to make $500.
Wow.
Not doing. Yeah, definitely don't do this. Right. This is not advisable.
Yeah, I did the same mistake as well. So I hear you. Can you give me for month three?
Month three was about $1,500 in revenue and like 3 grand in advertising costs, right? We're still at like a 50% return on ad spend.
Wow. How many units? Was it 60?
60. Yeah.
60 units. Okay. Yeah, that's so month four is when you start dialing it down, I'm guessing.
Let's see when I started dialing it down. There was a month. I kept on going like this for a while because I was like, oh, it's going to work. It's going to work. Everyone says like, just like wait a little bit. And my 6 month, oh, I guess we're more than 6 months, right? The 6 month was $400 in revenue and $250 in advertising. Really happy
All
about
right.
that. That's
And
profit town.
that was 20 units.
And that's as we're talking like more current day, right? That was September. And this is now when like the titles are getting better, the listings getting better, my bidding's getting better. So are we at like where I want to be? No, but learning along the way, tweaking things along the way, and I have a hole to dig out of. Yes, for sure. An avoidable hole
Definitely.
for other people listening to this. Like, do not go down that same hole. Don't overbid. This is as I was saying, like that's a lot of money.
No, definitely. No, I completely sympathize because I was in the same boat. So I completely get it. Are you selling outside of Amazon at all?
Yeah. Oh no, TikTok. TikTok's tough, but oh no, TikTok I just launched like 2 weeks ago, and bread and butter's wholesale. So anybody listening owns a hotel, please reach out to me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we do custom orders, so the packaging itself can be your brand.
Oh, okay. Nice. So you're selling straight, like you're like a wholesaler to hotels and Airbnbs.
Correct. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah. Thank you.
I love that. And how are you doing like on TikTok Shop or Shopify?
Shopify's doing well. Shopify's like I actually like Amazon more than Shopify. One
Okay.
piece that Amazon that I've recently been cha- converting or like directing traffic this is in the past like week, directing traffic from my Shopify site to Amazon because when you sell on Amazon, Amazon deals with the taxes. When you sell on your own site, you have to deal with the taxes. And when I say taxes, I mean sales tax. You always have to pay income tax, but and you pay sales tax anyway. But sales tax is so difficult. You have to get it down to the town level. There could be like I live in San Francisco. There's a San Francisco tax. There's a California tax. There's a San
Yeah.
Francisco County tax. So
Yeah.
once I have Nexus, which means that like, I have to pay sales tax in that jurisdiction, I have to do that myself, or I'm paying someone else to do it, or I can just sell on Amazon and let Amazon deal with it. So where Amazon can be tricky at times, and you give up a lot of your power to them, to not have to deal with sales tax is so worth it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. They do help a lot with that stuff, right? Like the back end logistics, that paperwork, the reports, all of it. Like it's totally worth it, and especially in the beginning, to
Yeah,
get you off the ground until your business is up and running, and before you build your own team, like they do all that for you, which is a great benefit of running your business on Amazon. Well, Eric, I want to thank you for coming here and sharing your story. This is pretty cool. I mean, congratulations on starting your brand and your product. I mean, most people hesitate and they don't want to put in the effort and the energy to do something like this. But as an entrepreneur, like we need to take risks in order to make something. There is no reward without the risk. So I just want to say congrats. Thank you for coming here, sharing your lessons, your mistakes. This is a big deal. We're a community of sellers and we all learn from each other. So thank you and best of luck.
for sure. Thank you for having me.